All right, folks. Welcome back. It's Erratic, Jimmy. We're gonna finish up the False Sun here tonight, folks. No rush. Just kicking everything around me, and I meant to finish it up last night. If you watched that stream, but there was a big thunderstorm outside and canceled that plan, and so there's really not much left to do. Only about a page and a half. I got to sing a little bit, and then that'll be a short stream probably. And so I can talk afterwards a little bit about the big project I've been working on. It's big. It's the video for this channel. It's Prologue 2 of Darkness, which I've been working on for a very long time. But we'll get into that later. I've got a lot to say, clearly. Let's see. I think I got to unknowingly created the one trap that could destroy the famed Turga. Yeah, I got there, and then I started talking about my theories about that. And that's when the thunderstorm really took out the stream. And it's a shame because I'm sure I was starting to say something really smart that would have really impressed you, and that was the perfect moment to get cut out. So, all those moments lost like tears in the rain. Let's see. Okay. I'll just take it from the top. Start recording and take it from the top of that passage. The whole center of the chamber gone. It was not for nothing the Mengeka had come here. Oh, hit the mic. It was not for nothing the Mengeka had come here. It was not for nothing they had raised no growl upon the ruins of ancient Viri. Intent on plundering the dead mansion, they took the vast pit they had discovered, the Veridic Well, as the axle of their construction, and so unknowingly created the one trap that could destroy the famed Turturga. Yeah, I mean, if you were watching the other stream the other night, I was getting really caught up on that. Why is that the one trap that can defeat the famed Turturga? It seems like a pretty simple trap. It's just the element of surprise. How hard could it be to surprise this guy? Apparently super hard. A great dank rose from the blackness, the stench of a mountain rotted with the hollows. A great dank rope from the rope. Off to a great start here, folks. A great dank rose from the blackness, the stench of a mountain rotted with hollows. In ancient times, the well had sounded Viri, a city as magisterial as Ishtarabinth, and deep, stuck into the ground's very root. Sheon Narnra teetered for a moment. Stuck into the ground's very root. Sheon Narnra teetered? Man, not my night. Sheon Narnra teetered for a moment, his senses unbalanced by the cavernous absence before and below. He steadied himself, then leaned to better cast his spit against it. He steadied himself, then leaned to better cast his spit after his foe. Ticus pir yelmor gram nimhal. Okay. Ticus. Take it 2 words at a time. Ticus pir yelmor gram nimhal. Nihal. Ticus pir yelmor gram nihal. Okay. Ticus pir yelmor gram nihal, he cried. The ancient curse of his forefathers. All right, there's an end note there. We get the translation for that, which I think in the video I will provide visually. I'll put on screen what that means, and I guess probably like Old Do Mary. So death denies you your lesson. It's a good one. He glimpsed a white twinkle sparkling far below. Not sparkling, it was only sparkling. He glimpsed a white twinkle sparkling far below, a tube of surrounding stone. A sorcerous mutter climbed from the bottomless reek. He blinked in disbelief. Quickly! The nude Incoroi cried, a noise like a dog's cough. Hmm. Pretty good. I'm gonna cut that there. Yeah. Got another Kedengera scene here. TQ Spiljelmorgram Nihol! Yeah, I like that line. It's pretty good fantasy speak that our Scott Baker comes up with here. So death denies you your lesson. All right. Next up, Ketengera. Ketengera scene at least. He walks into the golden gloom, squinting, staring. Dust puffs about his feet. Dust puffs about his feet, particles blooming in the intrusive brilliance of the sun, then vanishing into the flanking darkness. He peers, notices a different luminance waving across the interior, more fluid and sultry, webbed as though refracted through waters. That's a good scene. Scary imagery there. I think I remember back when I first released this, sans these Ketengera flashback scenes. I think it was to name drop him again. Weenie Poo, who commented that the scene was like a bit less scary, a bit less foreboding with those flashbacks taken out. And it's a bit more like, like a straight up action scene. And I guess I agree now upon reflection that it's, it does sort of add a sense of like something happened to this guy, something terrible. And this was before, I think this short story came out in between The Great Ordeal and The Holy Consult, if I'm not mistaken. And so this would have been a really good thing to have read in between those. Again, I wish I had been on the novels as they were coming out, but I was not. I was not tuned in until they had all been published. Picking it up. Drink water. What's going on, one person? Here we go. Cants of concussion. So the man and the Incoroi began, blasting the circular lip, striking great fractures into the grain of the rock, so that the well's mouth sloughed into its throat, a rumbling, clacking torrent. They pulled down the roofs of the Asina, bearing the deceit that was high blue sky. They stepped into sunlight. The Incoroi beat his great scabbed wings, rising high upon the relentless wind, spiraling like a vulture about a falling beast. The man stood upon the earth's phantom, hanging. Their skulls were as chalices of arcane light. Hmm. Their disparate voices seemed thrown from the horizon's farthest corners, the mutter of petulant gods, and the light of the diurnal bathed them, so they seemed to glow in the way of things held high in the sun's declining light. Their own shadows halved them, so that from certain angles they seemed naught but the rims of who they once were. Kuyan sorceries inscribed the empty spaces. Structure collapsed into afterimage of searing geometries. Into the afterimage. Structure collapsed into the afterimages of searing geometry. No, not the afterimages, only the afterimage singular. Structure collapsed into the afterimage of searing geometries. Orang husked the tower from without as he sailed into broad circles. Orang husked the tower from without as he sailed in broad circles, slowing into a climb when he turned into the wind, then swooping about in a descending arc. The diurnal's arcane sun warmed cloth, pinched skin. Sheo Narnra gouged the tower from within, hanging above the crater Desina, his hair and garment lashed into fins and ribbons. Sections of wall pitched into blackness, roared against the throat of the well. Furnishings glittered like tossed torches, scraped and skidded, trailing clouds of orange sparks before blackness encompassed them. Together They pulled down Nogarol, the high round, raised it into a heap over the mouth of the well. Got there. Oh, hey there, Dookie Shoe. Got Dookie Shoe saying, you really feel how the inverse fire affected Shay, the inevitable and inescapable doom he feels. Yeah, I wonder, because we get a little bit from his memories thinking like, oh yeah, I used to be a bit of a fop. He's thinking about how he used to preen and really care about how he looked, and Turturga's try to bait him by, I don't know, telling him he looks like a snake. He's got squinty eyes or something. So he probably used to be. He's a little bit arrogant sounding too when he's talking to Ket and Gira, like, "Oh, none of them had my cunning." So he seems like he was a bit of a foppish, like arrogant, frivolous kind of guy, perhaps before he saw the inverse fire and it made him into a crazy person. And then yeah, again before he banged Orang and had the greatest sex of his life and went insane. Here's the last flashback scene. He hears it, a faraway wind, the groan of impossible multitudes, the collective shriek. His lungs become as stone. His lungs become as stone. Horror makes pins of his skin, and he feels it. The burning vaults above, the smoldering glimpses. Shao Narnra raises his eyes. Hmm, there we go. Yeah, this was quite a week for Shao Narnra. First, he brought down the barricades, so world champion on that. Then he goes and finds out that hell's real, and he's going there for sure, and that it sucks. And then he falls in love immediately after. He meets the love of his life, Orang. All right, here we go. Mhm. At last they pause to regard their labor. The Inkoroi alighting upon the same spectral floor that bore Shao Narnra. Crimson sunlight bathed the southern ramps, inking the numberless crevices across the rack and ruin. And they rejoiced, man and Inkoroi. They had no inkling of the greater violence their sorcery had unleashed. The sky cracked. Eros shuddered. Ah, goddammit, my phone's buzzing somewhere. I'm gonna go take care of that. How annoying. That's embarrassing. Just a second. All right. Sorry, that was just the mayor of the city trying to give me the key to the city. But I said, no, I'm streaming. I'm doing the second apocalypse. All right, here we go. I should hit the recording button. Uh-huh. At last they paused to regard their labor. The Inkoroi alighting upon the same spectral floor that bore Shao Narnra. Crimson sunlight bathed the southern ramps, inking the never. I already said this. The sky cracked. Eros shuddered. The impossible sun tipped and stumbled. Plumes of ejecta exploded from points along the mountain's perimeter, scarcely visible for the diurnal's encompassing glare. The mound that had been Nogarol shrugged, then slumped into its contradiction. It was if a it was if a dome of cloth had been pressed into a dimple. Summit became basin, illumination became shadow, The mountain had been rotten with Viri, its innumerable ways fractioned by the cataclysmic impact of the Ark thousands of years before. The underworld mansion imploded, collapsed inward and downward, tier upon tier, hall upon hall, undone by this final indignity, this last outrage. The man and the Inkoroi toppled with it. Though suspended, they remained bound to the earth, and as with all drastic changes of circumstance, the meaning of their sorcery ceased to be. Only Orang's wings saved them. The Inkoroi seized the man from kicking emptiness, bore him up beyond the diurnal blue into the truth that was cold and night. They set foot upon the depression's edge. The day lantern painted a disheveled landscape, drawing their shadows into the darkness of the great concavity below. The earth still shivered, resounded with hidden percussions, knocking dust into smoky halos of debris. Sheonarnra laughed in the crazed, marveling way of children who find their destruction multiplied beyond belief. Once again, he succumbed to the sacrilege of fate. He who walked ways invisible to the gods. He exulted in this sign, rejoiced that his hated foe would have a pit and not a barrow to memorialize his fall. And as the echoes trailed into cavernous thunder, he began singing, as a true long-boned son of Umarau should. Okay, now I've got to warm up to sing the Sheonanra singing part. This was my favorite part of my first read of The False Sun. There's a lot of parts that I messed up in that. I got a lot of problems with it, but I still really like it. Again, it turned out much better than I thought. It was much better received than I thought it would be. And the song came out better than I thought. If you don't know, the melody that I set his little victory song here to is the Danse Macabre, right? That's right, I'm also a beautiful whistler. All right. Not much of a singer, though. But I don't imagine Sheonarnra is either. Well, he's a singer, right? But, I mean, he's spending all his time practicing sorcery. How much time does he have to brush up on his vocal training? You know? Or that maybe you need to be a good singer. Maybe you have to have perfect pitch to do in singing. Who knows? Your pride lies shattered with your shield. Your wrath curls bleeding upon the field. Now you linger in my shade weeping, mourning an honor that is my keeping, praying for children who are mine to enslave, beseeching lovers who are mine to deprave. I think I can do that better. Praying for children who are mine to enslave, beseeching lovers who are mine to deprave. Yeah, I like that sour, bassy note at the end, right? Because he's like a bad guy. It's very ironic for Sheonarnra to sing this song, which is a song about like defeating someone straight up in battle, right? You broke their shield, and now like they're lying broken on the field of battle, but that's not what happened, right? He wanted to fight you guys, fair, and he would have won, but instead you put him in a Burmese tiger trap, which was apparently the only trick that would have worked, according to the text, according to Sheonarnra's thoughts. Last part here. So the Archdemu Mengeku intoned, a paean for his vanquished enemy, a lament that was at once a psalm to his own glory and the might of their holy consort. For nothing mattered apart from what they had seen. Nothing. Nothing. They coupled on the smoking slopes, Man and Nkoroi, their silhouettes entangled, arching against a skewed, perpetually setting sun. They grunted for wonder, wheezed with ecstasy. They gazed in delirium, cried out against, cried out across. They gazed in delirium, cried out across the great bowl of ruin, over flames arrayed in descending echelons, like teeth growing out of a shark's throat. And daylight stained everything, a false pocket of sun in the night, the infinite night. No, I messed it up. The infinite night. There we go. Aha. Nice work, folks. Dookie Choo says, do you think Shay was actually there at the end of the Unholy Consult, or was it just a hologram? I think that it was just a hologram that they showed him like the noodly worm version of himself to Kel, who was thinking that holograms could trick him, but it didn't work, right? And I think that that was not Shao Narnra. He's either dead and gone, or and I was really disappointed when I got to the Unholy Consult. We didn't meet anybody from the human side of the consult. But anyway, yeah, I think that either he's dead and gone, or somebody on Reddit, I forget who, but this is a years old fan theory, had put forward that like because he was bouncing between the five noodle people, so perhaps they have improved the system and now he's like bouncing between the five mutilated Dunyain. That'd be pretty cool. That would truly be like a neo consult because they've just harnessed now the thinking power of the Dunyain, but added them to like Shao Narnra's soul. That'd be cool. Yeah, I wanted to see more of them. Kind of disappointing, says Dookie Shoe. Yeah, that I was right. I was the whole time. I was like, when are we going to get to the fireworks factory and like meet the consult? And it's like they did, but it's kind of brilliant because it's so parallels like what happens when they got to issue all, right? Like so brilliantly, and we should have seen that coming. Um, so this is this. Hey there, second person. This will probably be the last stream that I do for a little bit. Sad to say, I am super busy. Life's also getting a little bit wacky. I'm a public school teacher. It's June. I'll probably be gone for a bit. I'm working hard on something though. I've been working for months on uh, Prologue 2 of Darkness. But as I get further into it, I'm like, oh, I get more ideas of things I want to do, and so it's been spinning out of control. I was gonna do it first and then do the False Sun, but I'm now putting Prologue 2 of Darkness like on the back burner of everything and moving forward with my other ideas, and I'm just going to slowly chip away at it. um, it's long. It's like 50 minutes long. It's got four different musical parts in it. Not no one's singing, I'm saying this, but like uh, in the prologue one, there's two different parts where I'm playing music in the background. There's four of those so far. And I got the same two guys from prologue one. They're playing Lewith and Ketangira. I'm really happy with their performances so far. And it's very involved. Lots of sound effects as well. I think the last 15 minutes alone had like 30 sound effects. Those aren't done either. So it's going to be a while. But in any case, I'm doing this first. I have other stuff that I have planned. I was going to do C&D of the glossary as well while I work on Prologue too. But I'm the first like 20 minutes of it, I'm like really happy with, and I'm not going to share all that now. But I will share, if I can, like the first 3 minutes of it, which I'm very pleased with. However, I should say this might be a lot of build up for nothing because the last time I tried to share a screen on here, which was when I did the test stream, it didn't work. So maybe it's not going to work this time. Or I'll just play the audio out of my phone. It'll sound like bad, but you'll still hear it. But let's see. If the sharing the tab works, that would be ideal. Because it would sound really terrible coming out of its own speakers. All right. Let's see. Share screen. Someone's got a lot of tabs open. It's me. Is it gonna work? Do you see this? Is it working? Oh, hey, I can see it. How nice. But can I hear it? Don't need this. Sorry, there might be a tiny bit of feedback. I don't have earbuds in. I just want to. Well, actually, you know what? Dookie Shoe, stand by. You tell me if you can hear the first couple seconds of it. Prologue 2, The Wastes of Kunyuri. Yeah, is that playing at all? A quote from Drusus Acamian. Mm-hmm. We're just waiting here, folks. Dookie Shoes, did you hear that when I played it? I'm just gonna get headphones up here, man. All right, well, I will play this screen shared, and either it'll play through the stream, or I'll just sit here reacting to what will seem to the audience to be about 3 minutes of silence, which should be a nice form of abstract comedy, if nothing else. Be a little, Kafka-esque, but not Franz Kafka, Andy Kaufman-esque. I'm coining that. Hold up. All right, we're just gonna go for it, folks. It's gonna be a little awkward that I can't hear it unless. Uh-huh. All right, let's give it a shot. Prologue 2, The Wastes of Kunyuri. Well, I can hear it just fine. A quote from Drusus Acamian, Compendium of the First Holy War. This is a history of a great and tragic holy war, of the mighty factions that sought to possess and pervert it, and of a son searching for his father. And as with all histories, it is we, the survivors, who will write its conclusion. That part's good, but it's the next part that's really good. Late autumn, 4109 year of the Tusk, the mountains of Demua. Again, the dreams had come. Vast landscapes, histories, contests of faith and culture, all glimpsed in cataracts of detail. Horses skidding to earth, fists clenching mud, dead strewn on the shore of a warm sea. And always an ancient city, chalk dry in the sun, rising against the Dun Hills, a holy city called Shima. And then the voice, thin as though spoken through the reed throat of a serpent, saying, "Send to me, my son." The dreamers awoke as one, gasping, struggling to wrest sense from impossibility. Following the protocol established after the first dreams, they found each other in the unlit depths of the thousand halls. Such desecration, they determined, could no longer be tolerated. All right. Yeah, and I've got about from there on, maybe 20 minutes more that's produced pretty well. Um, and then I've got about 30 minutes that's pretty rough. But yeah, I've got my friends who did some acting in Prologue 1, returning for different roles, obviously. And then the very popular Second Apocalypse fan artist Quint Von Cannon is working with me on that video. I commissioned him to make some visuals, and he's also a talented actor on top of being a good artist. So I've enlisted him. He's gonna play somebody in Chapter 1 if we ever get there. To be honest with you, I've enjoyed making Prologue 2, but I think I started making it in March, and I'm talking to a few people who asked me how these things are going. I'm like, any week now, probably next week, probably this week, and not even close. So I'm shooting for in July. We'll see. I don't want to rush it. I can work on other stuff in the interim, but I don't know. I'm really happy. You heard those 2 minutes. I love those first 2 minutes. It stays pretty good from there. There's a couple cheesy parts. I think you'll be impressed. Anyway, folks, thanks for stopping by for the late night secret stream. Again, I don't think I'll be streaming again anytime soon, although I'd love to. We'll see how life plays out. I was thinking to get a PlayStation camera. We could do some reading, playing something, reading. Who knows? See how it goes. Anyway, folks, look forward to the fall sun. That's probably the next video I'm going to put up. I'll edit this audio. I'll re-record any parts that sound like I wasn't trying that hard. And then I'll put it up soon. We'll see. Thanks, folks, and take it easy.